This is my quarantine fecal and story of how I got these two emerald green tree skinks. This is the enclosure for the person I bought the skinks from in Illinois. It's beautiful. And she drove 2 hours. I drove 2 hours to meet in Illinois because she didn't want to ship in the cold. And I think that's a wonderful thing. She had too many males, so she sold me two. So the weekend before, I was at a reptile show and got two 55-gallon longs and one 30-gallon for $10 a piece. So they became my quarantine tanks. They would have to be massively clean though. This sucks. Look how bad that is. So right now what I'm doing is I'm washing it out. And then I've got F10. This is 55-gallon long. This is what my emerald green tree skinks that I'm getting this weekend go into. Well, one of them. I know, one for such a big tank. Well, I got it for $10. The screen that I have to buy for this is over 20. It is 200 times the amount that this tank was. Wow. This is my quarantine tanks for my two male emerald green tree skinks. The tanks cost me $10 a piece. Super cheap. So they have basking platforms. This is a UVB-10 that's out of my bearded dragon's enclosure. This bulb is an old bearded dragon UVB-10 T5. This was Pitch's old. She got a brand new one. There's 8 inches from the very tip of this on both sides. So therefore, they are 8 inches away with a screen and an old bulb. That should suffice for actual good UVB for them. So we'll probably put a blanket over the tip over here so that we can keep them warm temperatures longer. This will eventually go maybe bioactive. We'll work on other things later. This is just my quarantine tanks. So I've traveled over 2 hours to pick up two emerald green tree skinks. And we're at the world's biggest rail wagon or something. I'm not as impressed as I was kind of hoping. But yeah, so we're waiting to meet them. I stopped at a couple pet stores in Springfield, Illinois. It's nice. I don't get out of the city as much anymore. I don't have to. And I'm not a big city guy. So for me to be out here in the middle of nowhere, where you get a building every mile, it's wonderful. So there's my two skinks that I got yesterday. Now I've got everything set up finally. Got all the stuff that I can do everything right. So we have a quarantine process, even though I got them from a good source. So we've got our water here, and I've left this space empty for a reason. We are going to do our fecal today as well. Since they have poop in their containers, we'll just get it done. And so fecal cups. So this is a very feisty one. And as you look on the back, you can see all the missing scales. Lucky's got a few missing. This is a very, very feisty fighter. You can see all the poop in there. This one doesn't seem to have too many missing. And what's nice about these is how fat they are. She did a good job with them, but they're a little fat. Lucky's not this fat, and he's a pretty healthy guy. So this is interesting. So let's get him out. I know better than to let them run. I'm not really withholding it. I'm just keeping it from just drastically running away from it. So let's get everything ready real quick. These guys are not dehydrated. The source is a good source. And so we're just kind of looking, get underneath things. Because I have to still be secure in what I'm doing. I don't like that so much. We'll, Am I getting stuff off of it? I mean, I would think there'd be more if it was mites. Look at him, he's all so pissed off. He's gonna bite me. He's gonna bite me. He's gonna bite me. That's how you medicate them. You get them pissed off to where they're gonna bite you, and you're like, oh yeah, it's medication here. Getting into all the nicks and crannies. And then we got the 10-gallon. I made sure there wasn't so much water in the 10-gallon that they would drown. We also have a lid for it, because these guys are runners. I've seen little blotches come off of me, but she had him in a loose substrate, so could be a dozen different things. It doesn't look to be mites, and loose substrate is great. We're just quarantining, so loose substrate is not good for quarantine. Yeah, I get you. Around 48 hours of me having this individual, he passed away. He was too weak to bite the shed off his toes, and looking back, I can see that you can see the subtle differences between him and the other one. He is not alert, and he is weak. He is not wiry like the other one, and these are things to look for here, and these are not easy to see. So keep that in mind as you're watching, that these subtle hints are why you take them to the vet, and why we need people to understand their nonverbals better. The water with the electrolytes should have rehydrated it if it was dehydrated, making sure that it had the energy that it should have been given. So that I didn't make a mistake in doing that. It was nothing I did that caused this animal to die, but the only thing that I could have done differently is force feed it and give it vitamins. Oh, it's shedding. It's shedding. Look at that, that shed. So cute. Oh, it's shedding. I've never gotten to touch one when it's shedding. Poor guy. Look at that. I'm sorry. But you'll like this. This will make you feel good. See, something came off. But that's probably just shed. even though they're two males, it's too early for them to be fighting. They're not going to fight because it's just too damn early for that, for them personally. So we have a fecal deal. So let's try to get a hold of a big pile of fecal. I don't like that so much. Poor. Okay, so for more than that. But this will get us started. It's just a paper towel. Okay. So we can see that there's some fecal. Okay. So we need to get the other one here. That's a bigger pile of shit. Good. Oh boy, this one's stinky. Stinky might be a bad thing. We don't know yet. Okay. I'm trying to get a big scoop of it. The blue paper helps. So these will go here. And all this. So it helps with the background when you actually do the looking. So we have fecal solution. You want like a quarter or so. Basically, you want to be able to swoosh. Okay. And then we're filling up to, you see that bubble? That bubble. So that what that bubble is, some of these plates. We want to stick them on top and let them sit there for 15 minutes. Exactly. No more than 20. Otherwise you got to redo the whole thing. Okay. So we have microscope slides. And I have a pocket microscope. So we'll be doing that. Okay. The first thing is to take these off and put them on the slide. So far, their fecal have done nothing. And so we will look at that here in a bit again. They don't have mites, and their fecals look pretty clean, so we're going to put them in their enclosures. I know they're thinking, what fresh hell is this? Okay. That's a lot easier than Lucky usually is. So let's put it in here and see its behavior. This is the squirmy guy. Is already I know most people have them high up. I don't have a way to put them high up. These tanks are too big. They're too heavy for anything that I have. So we're not going to do that yet. I'm hoping this one will actually do some climbing. Do exactly what I think it'll do. It's shedding, so it's trying to figure out that. Trying to get the shed off, and the best way to get the shed off is to climb. Because of how long the tanks are, I went ahead and put something over the top to hold in most of the heat. He's starting to climb. Good. He's the excitable one. I knew he would be exciting to watch with all those missing scales. I think he recognizes that he might be able to climb now. I got some mealworm or some super worms in there for him until he's curious. He knows I'm watching him. I want to taste it. So he's thinking in 3D. Okay, I can't go in here, so I gotta go over it. Just hasn't gotten there yet. So he's eating. He was. So he comes at it from a different angle. Good. And he knows I'm watching him. Like and subscribe. Check out my videos on my thoughts the day the animal died and the death molds that I made for my animals.